Hello, guys. I just want to quickly look at this passage 3 from earlier, the one that I sent you about plastic surgery. I've never seen this passage before, and nor I'm familiar with this particular book. But when I looked through some of the questions yesterday, before choosing this or before sending this material, the wording of the questions looked decent and looked up to the standards. So I decided to go ahead and send it. So now we're all going to try it. I'm sure some of you have already done this and you were looking for answers. But I would like to try and explain the answers along the way. Again, this is the first time I'm doing it, so I'm not really sure about the standards. If this is something maybe this could be slightly more challenging or maybe less challenging than the actual test. No matter what, we're going to see and try this particular passage together and see. I also have prepared basically a space to write all the answers and also a keyword table. And I'm going to put the keywords from the questions and the paraphrases from the passage here, so you can see how your knowledge of vocabulary is very important and critical for IELTS reading. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Plastic surgery, I always read the title and the subtitle. Here this kind of functions as a subtitle, even though it's not really italicized. Plastic surgery is a process of reconstructing or repairing parts of the body by the transfer of tissue, either in the treatment of injury or for cosmetic reasons. So there are two reasons they're saying, either to treat the injury or for just beauty reasons. It can involve a number of different techniques to move and manipulate body tissue. We're going to go ahead and look at the first set of questions. We have 3 multiple choice questions from 27 to 29. That means, excuse me, I'm still recovering from this cough. The rise in, so it means they follow the same order, right? So the rise in plastic surgery procedure numbers reflects. So the word is reflects. Reflects means like shows. So it means the rise in plastic surgery procedure numbers. The rise in numbers show what? So far, we haven't really read anything about it, but let's go ahead. In the independent healthcare sector, aesthetic surgery has increased in popularity. Increase in popularity means the numbers rose. Increased in popularity. So let's put that as a increase in popularity, rise in numbers. Rise in numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. This question says rise. Okay, rise in numbers and increase in popularity. So something, and then reflects. Reflects in the text, it was showing, right? Okay, let's see. Showing the increased consumer desire for it. Aesthetic surgery, increased consumer desire is the correct answer. So let's see if we can check. Reflects the number of surgeons now available, and this is not mentioned. Reflects the growth in demand. Growth in demand. This looks like the correct answer. Reflects the lower fees now charged, and reflects how media companies have acquired the financial interest in the process. Yeah, so the correct answer is B. Oops. Correct answer is B. And growth in demand. Growth in demand. Demand is paraphrased. Excuse me. Paraphrased by. Well, it's paraphrased as increased consumer desire. Increased consumer desire. Desire. Okay. It's gonna take a while, but I actually want to do this for lower level students out there. I know that you guys want to practice and improve your reading skills as well, so it's very important to, at a lower level, it's very important to have this habit of formulating these keyword tables when you're doing your reading practice tests. All right. People's obsession with appearance could stem from exposure to modern culture. So that means there are two reasons why people have been obsessed with their appearance. Either it's exposure to modern culture or something else. So we're looking for the second reason here, second factor. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through. Active. I see. I'm sorry. I see active aggressive media. Globalized perception of what is attractive. Society's current obsession. I see the word obsession with looks. Obsession with looks. Looks is another word for appearance, right? So in the question it was obsession with appearance. So we can just put appearance and looks in the passage. Stem from the exposure. May reflect the modern image obsessed culture, but it can also be due to, entrenched insecurities in people's psychological makeup. So this is the answer, correct answer here. Well, this is not the correct answer per se, but it's the paraphrase of the correct answer. Entrenched. See if I can explain this. Entrenched means probably like a deep-seated insecurities. It's a nice expression. Deep-seated insecurity is a feeling of inferiority. It's like you feel insecure about certain things. You could feel insecure about your looks, appearances, etc., etc. So, so let's go through the answers. Now, it's not about the celebrities' desire to fit in with everyone else. This is close. Predictable evolutionary development. People's deep-rooted anxieties. This is our answer. Deep-rooted. I said deep-seated. Deep-rooted is another expression. So deep-seated or entrenched insecurity. So we're going to put entrenched insecurities in the passage part, in the passage column. Entrenched insecurities. This was deep-rooted anxieties in the question. All right. The next question is plastic surgery ethics have recently been discussed, been made official, been abused, been discussed again. Okay, been discussed more in the media and been discussed by politicians. When you're doing these multiple choice questions, when you're reading through the options, it's important to see the difference between these different options. So we have here the difference is media and politicians, and here it's made official and abused. So ethical surgery, plastic surgery ethics have recently, Have they been discussed more in the media? Have they been made official? Have they been abused by those involved in the industry? Have they been discussed by? So if you notice, all three options here, A, B, and D, are somewhat positive. And the only negative option here is C, have been abused. Abused means taken advantage of, misused, so to speak, right, by those involved in the industry. So let's see if we can get the correct answer here. In the past few years, it means like recently, right? Recently, yeah. A lack of respect for ethical principles in plastic surgery has become increasingly noticeable. A lack of respect. Already from this sentence, I can sense that there's something negative. In the past few years, a lack of respect for ethical principles in plastic surgery has become increasingly noticeable. It means it has increased. A lack of respect has increased. So now the next sentence kind of explains this. As the concepts of beauty undergo change, wrinkles, as the concepts of beauty undergo change, wrinkles, fat deposits, and sun-damaged skin no longer fit into our concept of neat society. So our concept of beauty has changed or has undergone a change, and as a result, people don't really see wrinkles, fat deposits, and sun-damaged skin as part of our, neat society concept. Now that these real or perceived aging problems receive greater attention from patients and doctors, the ethical considerations also need to be focused upon. Enhancement versus therapy, risks, patient autonomy, I'm not really sure about this word. I want to say beneficence, informed consent are issues that need to be recognized and emphasized when considering aesthetic surgery. So this whole paragraph revolves around the negative aspects of ethics. And from what I see, healthcare professionals is another word for maybe those involved in the industry. Yeah. So can we say have recently been abused by those involved in the industry? Probably. But I'm not like 100% sure. But what I'm sure about is that all the other three options, which are more positive, they don't sound true to me. They don't sound correct to me. So I have to go with the option C here. Yeah. Yeah, so the only thing I can put is instead of recently, like recently is from the question, in the past few decades. So that's all I can say. Oops. And I can also put maybe those involved in the industry. It's not it's not the exact synonym, so it's only in this context. So I'm just gonna leave it out. Anxieties. I couldn't spell the word anxieties. Okay. All right. All right. Moving on to the table completion. No more than 3 words. You want to highlight that part as well. Suggested principles for the plastic surgery industry. Respect for autonomy is the first principle. So I'm guessing the next paragraph discusses these principles in more detail. If you notice this last sentence serves as a link to the next paragraph. Principles that could help guide healthcare professionals include a respect for autonomy. That's the first one. Again, beneficence, and the next word, If we say beneficence and then this is malfeasance probably, and justice. I want to check these two words out just to be sure. I know that these are not common words, so it doesn't really matter. But I just want to beneficence meaning the act of doing good and kindness. Usually I go to Cambridge and you can check.
Beneficence.
Oh, okay.
Beneficence.
All right. Beneficence. I'll keep that. Generous giving, or the quality of being generous and doing good. Beneficence. They thanked God for his beneficence. They rely heavily on the beneficence of their sponsors. Beneficence. What about the other one? Malfeasance. That's law related. As you can see, it's not really common, and it's also listed as specialized.
Malfeasance.
Okay, an example of dishonest and illegal behavior, especially by a person in authority. Malfeasance. So it's a Z. Malfeasance, beneficence. All right, now that we've learned the pronunciation of these probably unnecessary words, but these were the main words, and I only learned it. I'm not going to use these words probably in speaking. I might use them in writing, but not in speaking. So I may never use the pronunciation. I may never have to say the words. But I just had to learn it because, I didn't want to mispronounce these words in this video. So respect for autonomy, beneficence, and non-malfeasance, and justice. So these are the principles. So probably the next paragraph starts with the first principle. In general, competent adults have the right to decide whether they wish to undergo a surgical procedure or not. So that means they're saying competent adults means like adults who can make an independent kind of decision, have the right to decide whether they wish to undergo the patient's wishes, and thereby their right to an informed decision have to be taken into account, provided they have been given sufficient information, which must include risks together with alternative options. Okay. These principles apply even more to aesthetic operations where patients are not suffering from any illness. Aesthetic operation is like operation that is done solely due to or solely for beauty purposes, or not necessarily treating injury. If you remember, we in the first paragraph we read like these plastic surgery is usually done in two different conditions. One is for treating injuries, and the second is for aesthetic reasons or cosmetic reasons. Okay. These treatments, which may lead to long-term adverse effects on body function and health, involve serious ethical concerns. In such situations, patients' right for autonomy may contradict physicians' principle of malfeasance. Malfeasance is illegal behavior. So non-malfeasance is not illegal behavior, it's legal behavior, and therefore, proper consideration is needed before deciding on such treatments. Okay, all right. So let's see. Adults should decide for themselves, so their decision must be respected if they had sufficient information, including this and other possibilities. I think the word was risks, right? Include, which must include risks. Yeah, risks. So, oh, I forgot to put the answers. Can I write here? Okay, it looks like I guess I can. Wow, this looks great. Risks. Can you even make it like bolder? Oops. Yeah, didn't work. All right. Looks like you can. All right. Wow, I really like it. This is an editable PDF document. But I'm gonna put the yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and send this document when I'm done with it. Sufficient information should decide for themselves. Their decision must be respected. I don't really see any, critical or important keywords, so there's nothing regarding the keyword table here. Okay, next question we have is, this is especially important with aesthetic surgery, which may cause enduring negative effects. Even though we don't have we don't have a question here, I just still want to point out the paraphrase. It helps you understand the sequence of, arguments. Here, long-term adverse effects. Long-term adverse effects. So in the question, it was enduring negative effects. Enduring negative effects. In the passage, it was paraphrased as long-term adverse effects. Okay, negative is just another word for adverse. As you can see, Grammarly is telling me that you can just use adverse, but yeah. All right, patient should be realistic. Realistic. Okay. I think I saw the word expectations somewhere. Yeah, expectations here. Surgeons must therefore ensure that patients' expectations are reasonable. Reasonable is probably realistic in this context. It's not it's not an interchangeable word here. These are not interchangeably used, reasonable and realistic. But when it comes to expectations, you can probably use them interchangeably. It's like realistic expectations or reasonable expectations. So for this reason, I'm not going to list them as synonyms, but still, patient expectations. Yeah, patient expectations should be realistic. Okay. Here, there's another grammar aspect as well, I think. There's this grammar point. They used an apostrophe here, patient's expectations. And in the question, they used patient expectations, using the first noun as an adjective. But you have to use the noun in a singular form to be able to use that grammar. Yeah, okay. So the answer is expectations. Oops. Can you... Oops. All right. This is the first time I'm dealing with this, so... All right. I don't want to highlight everything here, but it's okay. You can see expectations, right? I can even put it here. Okay, something like this. I want to get rid of this. Oops. Oh, that's fine. We can probably make it a bit smaller so that it... All right, expectations should be realistic. All right. Next. I keep forgetting. Beneficence. Beneficence. Surgeons must bear in mind patients' best interests and ensure that negative aspects of surgery are outweighed by the benefits. All right, let's see if we can find it. The beneficence principle requires a medical practitioners. Medical practitioner is another word for doctors. Act in the best interest of patients. See if we have question. We have surgeons. All right, surgeons. Surgeons must bear in mind patients' best interests. So in the question it says surgeons. In the text it says medical practitioners. In somewhere I also saw physicians, so I'm just going to put this as well. Practitioners. Excuse me. Physicians. What was the problem with this word? Physicians. Oh, I'm missing an I here. Yeah, my bad. Okay. People with BDD can have to do with correcting a minor or non-existent flaw. Okay, people with BDD, so we have to keep reading. I see BDD. Many people are extremely self-conscious. Self-conscious means they're aware, like they're embarrassed. Embarrassed is a more appropriate synonym. About their appearance, and these groups may benefit from aesthetic surgery. Body dysmorphic disorder, BDD, is a psychiatric syndrome characterized by preoccupation. Preoccupation is another word for obsession with a non-existent or minimal cosmetic defect associated with persistent attempts to have the defect surgically corrected. All right, so that's let me explain this. Basically, it's saying this is a mental disorder. Like if you have some sort of a defect in your appearance, these people with BDD syndrome want to have this defect surgically removed, even though it's either non-existent or minimal. So defect is another word for, I think I saw it here, flaw. Minor or non-existent flaw. Correcting, I think, was correcting was corrected. Okay, so non-existent or minimal cosmetic defect. So we're going to put this as a synonym for minor or non-existent flaw. Minor or non-existent flaw was minimal. Was in the text. Minimal cosmetic defect. Non-existent or minimal cosmetic defect. Okay. Non-existent minimal cosmetic defect is the word. So going back to the question. People can have a, I want to say obsession, but the word, we have to use the word from the passage because it says from the text. So I'm guessing possible. Oh, I'm sorry. Here can have a to do with. To do with means associated. To do with associated, like related to. Oops, I see associated here. I have to go to the passage. Yeah, associated with persistent attempts. But it's not really close to preoccupation. But so the probably correct answer is preoccupation. It means this syndrome is characterized by a preoccupation, means these people who have the syndrome have a preoccupation. It means they have an obsession. But just for the general English purposes, I'm just going to put to do with associated with or related to, something like this. Okay, so the answer is preoccupation. Preoccupation is the answer. Preoccupation. I'm gonna make it smaller so that it fits. Even smaller, and have it here. Have a preoccupation to do with correcting minor or non-existent flaw. Okay, preoccupation. Again, it's not. I want to double check it. I think it's like obsession, preoccupation. An idea subject that someone thinks about most of the time. Yeah. Something that you think about most of the time. Synonym is if you're preoccupied with something, that means you're obsessed with something. Yeah, obsessively, obsessive. It's not like maybe 100% obsession, but it's very close. An idea or subject that someone thinks about most of the time. Preoccupation. It's we usually use the word preoccupation in the form like as an adjective, like he has been preoccupied with his work. It means he's been busy or he's been obsessed with his work, something like that. Lately, his preoccupation with football had caused his marks at school. Yeah, preoccupation usually used with the preposition with. So yeah, okay, obsession. I'm just gonna put obsession again, just for the sake of general English improvement. Oh, we don't have the obsession in the text, so never mind. BDD is more easily recognized nowadays. Even though there's no question, I still want to go ahead and match that to the part of the passage. It has to be the last point. BDD is increasingly recognized and may be becoming more prevalent. Increasingly recognized. Okay? Easily recognized nowadays. Yeah, all right. It's just another word for increasingly recognized and prevalent. Prevalent is also another nice word that you can use in your IELTS writing test too. Becoming more prevalent. It means it's becoming more common. Moving on to the non-maleficence, malfeasance. I'm sorry, malfeasance. Malfeasance, again, malfeasance means illegal behavior. So non-malfeasance means legal behavior or not in illegal behavior. It ensures that an aesthetic surgeon never acts against patient's welfare or in a way that may harm a patient. Consultant aesthetic surgeons may decline to operate on patients if they don't believe that the surgery is to the patient's benefits. All right, so okay, so that means surgeons should never act against patients' welfare. Welfare means like well-being. Aesthetic surgeons should be reluctant to operate on those with unrealistic expectations, as the risk of surgery may outweigh any benefits. Patients with serious health problems are also at increased risk of complications under a general anesthesia. Anesthesia is, I like saying the word anesthesia. In Russian and Uzbek, it's narcos. Well, I'm not sure about the Uzbek version, but it's commonly, we commonly say narcos. So general anesthesia is basically umumiy narkos, общий beriladigan narkos, faqatgina local bitta joyga emasda, общий butun taningizni narkozga tushirib operatsiya qilinadi. Demak, o'shanda complications degani qanaqadir bir kelib chiqishi mumkin bo'lgan muammolar. Ba'zi odamlarda bo'ladi, general anesthesiyaga da muammosi bo'ladi. Misol uchun allergiya reaksiya berib yuboradi, allergiyasi bo'lsa. Adashmasam, o'tgan yil shunaqa paytlarda mashhur o'sha bloger Farhod Mannopov o'tib qolgan edi. Xudo rahmat qilsin. O'sha bolada ham general anesthesiyaga menimcha reaksiya bo'lgan. Eng qizig'i unda ham planoviy operatsiya edi. Ya'ni bitta hech qanaqa injury treatment sifatida emas, ko'proq o'sha burnini to'g'irlash uchun bo'lgan aesthetic surgery bo'lgan. Aesthetic surgeryda mana doktorlar mana qanaqa haligi bo'lyapti. Mana shu yerda qarang, juda ham mos kelyapti hozir o'sha tekst. Agar patientda qanaqadir risklar, health problemlar bo'lsa, qilmaslik kerak deyapti doktorlar o'sha operatsiyani. Misol uchun bu bo'lishi mumkin, general anesthesiyaga qanaqadir reaksiya yoki tekshirilish kerakmi, bilmayman, allergiya bor yo'qligi yoki o'tda adashmasam boshni urib olib borgan edi, miyada ham qanaqadir bir qon ketishi bo'lgan bo'lishi mumkin. Ichki haligi muammolari, endi men bilmayman, bu sohani tushunmayman, lekin eslatib yubordi, o'sha voqealarni eslatib yubordi. Anyway, let's go back to our passage. I'm sorry. Let's read the malfeasance. Surgeons must always act with patients' welfare in mind. Patients with health problems can be at risk of complications whilst undergoing a general anesthesia during surgery. Decisions regarding surgery should be made on an we haven't read that part yet. I see individual basis, on an individual basis. All such assessments need to be made on an individual basis. Assessments are not necessarily, again, synonym for decisions, but in this context it is, because you have to make a decision after assessing all different factors. So assessment in this context means decisions. So I'm going to put that as decisions, assessments. Again, doesn't always mean these two words are synonyms, but for this particular context, they are. Okay, so the correct answer was, I think, on an individual basis. Just gonna put individual basis. Okay, on an individual basis. Surgeons. It means you have, when you're making assessment, when you're making an assessment, when you're making a decision, you have to treat individual patient. You have to consider every patient's individual kind of, conditions, their own conditions. So you cannot kind of generalize here, but so all these decisions should be made on an individual basis, means you have to take into individual factors, so to speak. Surgeons can experience a possible regarding the need to earn money. Possible. Experience a possible. Okay, let's see. haqiqatan ham pul uchun qilmoqchi bo'ladi operatsiyani, pul kerak, operatsiyalar qimmat hisoblanadi, yaxshi pul olib keladi. Bu narsa o'sha yerda nima bo'ladi? Sizda qanaqadir bir hozir o'qib ko'ramiz. Conflict of interest. Conflict of interest is the correct answer. Qanaqadir manfaatlar to'qnashuviga olib keladi bitta. Surgeons have a potential. Potential is possible. So I'm going to put possible and potential as two keywords. Possible from the question and the potential from the passage. And conflict of interest is the answer here. We have three words, so we can put three words. It's going to be conflict of interest is the answer. But okay, I'm just gonna put it like this: conflict of interest, possible conflict of interest. So three words were within the limit. So, all right. So surgeons can experience a possible conflict of interest regarding the need to earn money. Regarding the need to earn money. I wonder if there is a paraphrase for this as well. No surgeon should ever proceed with an operation merely for personal pecuniary gain. I'm not sure about this word, pecuniary. So let me check this word again in the dictionary. I'm guessing it's financial or something. It's formal. Relating to money. Okay.
Pecuniary.
Pecuniary interest. Wow, it's a formal word.
Pecuniary.
Again, I'm not going to use this word. I don't think I'm going to ever need this word, but just for the just for the sake of learning, right? Personal pecuniary gain. Gain is profits. So need to earn money. Pecuniary, related to money. Okay, I'm just going to put money, and in the text it was pecuniary. All right. So it means related to money, right? So, but we only had money in the word money in the question. But pecuniary personal gain was gain to earn money. All right, you can just get rid of it. Justice is the last principle, I think. The justice principle requires doctors to ensure that medical care is available to all. Equitable healthcare. Equitable means like equal, something close to equal access. Equitable access to healthcare is regarded by many as basic entitlement. Entitlement is like the word right, like a basic right. Basic is fundamental. I see that here. Access to healthcare is generally thought of is regarded by many. So I'm going to put that. Is generally thought of means is regarded by many. Question, it read basic. Oh, fundamental. In the text it was basic. Entitlement was the answer, but entitlement is like, again, as I said, it was like, it's right. It's your human rights, your basic right. So, fundamental entitlement. Entitlement. Not sure if I spelled it right. Let me check. It's always important to double check. Entitlement. Yeah, okay, so I guess it should be like this. Entitlement. Okay, yeah. All right. In reality, restrictions in resources lead to something. I always like when there is this non-defining relative clause, which is dependent on need. It kind of helps you find the word faster, right? Subjective judgment is needed to make the choices. In reality, okay, let's see. In reality, however, resources are limited and it's not possible for any health service to provide aesthetic surgery for all those who would like it. Rationing takes place on the basis of clinical necessity. Inevitably, this introduces subjective judgment about those whose need is greater. In the private sector, those who can afford to pay undergo surgery. Private treatment is the last choice. So in reality, restrictions in resources. Resources are limited. Restrictions provide aesthetic surgery. But does it lead to, it leads to what? Which is dependent on need. Okay. Dependent on need. I want to say rationing is the correct answer, but I'm not sure. What is rationing here? Rationing takes place on the basis of clinical necessity. Okay, yeah. Takes place on the basis of means is dependent on the need. Necessity is the need. Okay, so we're getting somewhere, right? So in the question said it was need. In the passage it was necessity. Need. Which is dependent on, so what is dependent on need? Is it rationing? I guess so. But what is rationing? Is it rationing is like basically providing a rationale, like a reasoning, but let me check. Rationing. Yeah, okay. Ration deymiz biz o'sha narsa ekan. Demak, rationing, system of limiting the amount of something that each person is allowed to have. Fuel rationing. Buni tushuntirishim bo'yicha mana korzinkalarga borsangiz ba'zida shakar juda tanqis bo'lib qolgan paytlarda har bitta sotib oluvchi xaridorga o'sha rationing ishlatiladi. Ya'ni bitta odamga misol uchun 2 kilogacha olish mumkin yoki 1 kilogacha olish mumkin deydi. Demak, mana shunaqa paytda resource limited bo'lib qolgan paytda rationingga olib keladi demoqchi bo'lyapti. Okay. Now that we're clear. So the answer is rationing. All right, we need to move on faster now. We have still 4 questions left. I'm just taking my time and explaining these things in more detail. In reality, in the exam, I'm much faster when I'm dealing with these questions on my own. But as a teacher, as an instructor, it's my job to explain my train of thought here so that you guys understand. And I'm not afraid to make any mistakes. We're gonna check the answers, but I'm guessing I'm doing okay here. There's only a couple of questions. I think that this preoccupation was something that I wasn't really 100% sure of. But other than that, I think we're okay. All right, so aesthetic surgery, the needs for cosmetic surgery span social classes, but something don't usually pay the costs. Or somebody. It's the next paragraph. Requests for aesthetic surgery occur in all social classes. However is but, right? But don't usually pay the cost. Span social classes. It means like it involves all social classes. However, as stated earlier, because of economic considerations, there are no social systems in the world that covers aesthetic surgery. Cover is another word for pay for. Like we say in the, it's not again 100% a synonym, but we usually say this: your insurance doesn't cover this aesthetic surgery, right? It means usually these insurances, medical insurances, cover serious surgeries or urgent surgeries, so to speak, but they don't really cover aesthetic surgery. It means they don't pay for the cost of aesthetic surgery. So cover is pay for. Pay the cost. Cover. So I'm just going to put pay the cost. Pay the cost of something to cover. Excuse me again. Anchadan beri buni ko'p gapirmagandim, shu kasal bo'lganimdan beri shunga yo'talsam ko'proq tutyapti. Social systems. I think the answer was social systems, right? Oh, social system. So you have to be really careful. Oh, okay. So it says do not. Can I say social systems then? Can I change? Usually, social systems. I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. O'shuning uchun bizda даже singular so'z agar tushmasa grammatically pluralga aylantirishga haqqimiz yo'q. Unaqa paytda agar plural ya'ni grammatically tushmasa, demak boshqa javob bo'ladi. Boshqa joyda qarab ko'rish kerak. Lekin men o'zim noto'g'ri o'qib olibman. O'zi pluralda yozilgan ekan. Social systems. Oops. In particular, a variety of factors must be considered when deciding on cosmetic surgery for adolescents. Adolescents is another word for young children or teenagers. The case of adolescence is especially problematic. The deformity, physical and emotional maturity and desired outcome for each adolescent patient must be carefully evaluated before any decisions are made. Additional consultations and long discussions for aesthetic surgery are always necessary, and this may require expert psychological assessment. Well, there's no question from this particular line. So ethical consideration also causes dilemmas for doctors due to issues from deriving something from possibly ill-conceived societal ideologies. Dilemma is a problem. Dilemma for doctors due to issues from deriving Usually it's deriving from, but we can also say derive something from something, right? Derive means get something from possibly ill-conceived societal ideology. Ill-conceived, it means like, well, it's a negative word. Like, yeah, let's see if we can find the correct paraphrase. At present, aesthetic surgery is passing through an identity crisis, as well as posing an acute ethical dilemma. A closer look from an ethical viewpoint makes it evident that doctor who offers aesthetic interventions faces many serious ethical problems to do with the identity of the surgeon as a healer. Aesthetic surgery makes profits from the ideology of a society that serves only vanity, youthfulness, and personal success, and one which is losing sight of the real values. Okay, ideology of a society that serves only vanity. Vanity is something like, it's a negative word. And so vanity, youthfulness, and personal success. These can be synonyms for ill-conceived ideologies, or ill-conceived means like concepts that are not in line with the well-being of people. So ill-conceived means, again, just negative. We can look it up, the word vanity, but yeah, it has something to do with like, something negative. I cannot put this, I don't even remember the exact translation. Yeah, the fact, okay, so that's C2, disapproving. The fact that you're too interested in your appearance or achievements. He wants the job purely for the reasons of vanity and ambition.
Vanity.
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 Selfish. Okay, selfish is the word, selfish. Okay, so being selfish, youthfulness, and personal success, all are ill-conceived ideologies of society. Now, make is derive. That's I'm sure of. So to derive. Means to make. Here the answer was profits. Makes profit from the ideology. Issues from deriving profit from possibly inconceived. Profit from possibly inconceived societal ideologies. Purely aesthetic factors should maybe considered to avoid in young people. Purely aesthetic factors should. Not sure why we have two modal verbs here. Oh, it's maybe is not exactly a modal verb. I'm sorry. I'm getting tired. Maybe, just perhaps, should perhaps be considered to avoid in young people. Avoid something. Okay. Young people. So we need to go for, young people is like children. Plastic surgeons must resist aesthetic measures in children and adolescents. Children and adolescents are young people, particularly operations which are totally cosmetic. Nevertheless, exceptions do exist, and convincing arguments may support aesthetic measures with children and adolescents to prevent stigmatization in selected cases. Prevent is avoid, so to avoid, to prevent. Stigmatization is like stigma. There's a social stigma attached to it, right? So, for example, if someone has, I don't know, some sort of a deformity or a defect that is stigmatized in society. That means like there's a stigma attached to it. Then they're saying aesthetic surgery measures should be maybe supported, right, in selected cases, in some cases only. Purely aesthetic factors should maybe considered. Factors should maybe considered. Well, they say convincing arguments, but again, considered is not really given here. But the correct answer here is anyway stigmatization. Stigmatization. I'm gonna put it here, stigmatization. I noticed that it was spelled in British English with an S, but I think spelling it in American way is also possible. But let's double check it. Yeah, you see the UK version, stigmatization. Now this is okay in both listening and reading. If you spell the word either in British or American, both spelling versions are accepted on the answer sheet. The act of treating someone or something unfairly by publicly disapproving of them or it. Yeah. So care needs to be taken. Care needs to be taken to ensure there is no stigmatization of children based on their home circumstances. She kept her medical condition a secret for fear of stigmatization and discrimination. Stigmatize. But usually this word again is used as a noun, like stigma. It's easier to understand. Stigma, it's more like a feeling, strong feeling of disapproval that most people in a society have about something. For example, divorce. I was going to give an example of divorce. Like being divorced sometimes in Eastern cultures is a stigma. You know, there's a stigma attached to divorce. We can say, like, it's not positively viewed, right? Or it's rather negatively viewed when you're divorced. That means there's a stigma. But in American or Western culture, there is no longer any stigma to being divorced. So that means it's okay to be divorced. All right, so I think we're kind of done, right? Oh, I'm sorry. We have this final multiple choice question. What is the writer's purpose in reading passage 3? Such questions, this multiple choice question is called a global multiple choice question. I'm getting really tired. Global multiple choice question. When you're dealing with global multiple choice questions, it's important to have read and understood the whole passage before trying this question. And I think I have understood the passage overall. So hopefully there's no question. There's no problem with this question. To provide an overview of the ethics relating to plastic surgery. Yeah, I think it was all about ethics, like different principles. So the answer A could be correct. To show the reasons why plastic surgery can be beneficial. Definitely not. Definitely not. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe cross out the wrong answers here. Can I do that? Yeah, okay. I guess I can. Oops, I didn't mean to cross out both. I just wanted to cross out the second one. All right. To highlight the dangers of plastic surgeons who prioritize their own earnings. There were some sections about certain plastic surgeons who might experience a conflict of interest, but the whole passage was not about highlighting the dangers. So I'm gonna cross that one out as well. To describe the risks inherent in plastic surgery procedures. Even though, again, the author talked about risks, he didn't, the purpose of the passage was not, again, to describe the risks inherent in plastic surgery. So yeah, we are left with the option A. It was about the ethical principles. Provide an overview of ethics relating to plastic. Everything was about an overview of ethics. So this is our correct answer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna highlight it so that this is our correct answer. All right, so we can now double check just to make sure, and also put our answers here on the answer sheet as well. 27 was, so we have B, D, C, B, D, C, 30 risks, 31 expectations, 32 preoccupation, 33 individual basis, 34 conflict of interest, 35 entitlement, 37 social systems, 37, oh, 36 was rationing and 37 was social systems, I'm sorry. Rationing, limiting the amount of, especially when something is, well, when resources are limited. And 38, profit. 39, stigmatization. Both spellings are correct and acceptable. And 40, I think, was A. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're kind of done. All right. That's it. Thank you guys for your attention if you watched the whole video. Wow, this was an hour-long video. So let me know if you finished, if you watched the whole thing in one go. If not, it's still okay. But those who struggle with the reading should probably watch this video and hopefully make use of some of the tactics that were highlighted in the video, you know, and also pay attention to how, you know, vocabulary is quite important. And there are a lot of words that I still am not sure about when it comes to pronunciation or meaning. But if you ask me, this particular passage 3 was slightly more challenging than an actual passage 3 that you may have in your exam. Having said that, I think the questions and the passage was well within the scope of IELTS standards. So that means it was up to the standards. It was really in line with the IELTS standards, but it was slightly more difficult. But I've had such difficult passages in the real exam as well, but not as often. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Again, thank you for sticking with the video, with the lesson, hopefully to the end. And let me know if you've learned something. Like, just in the comments, leave at least one thing that you've learned from this video. I'll be happy to read and reply to those comments. Thank you again.